The entire industry reportedly froze the second whispers started spreading that 50 Cent was allegedly ready to throw $10 million on the table just to free Finesse2Tymes from mob ties. People instantly realized this was not normal rap business anymore. This felt personal, dangerous even, was J. Prince Jr.'s alleged warning to 50, telling him not to waste money on someone who could eventually betray him the same way others allegedly had before.
Hey, Buzzbuster is here. Things took a serious turn the moment Finesse2Tymes stopped holding back and spoke openly about what was bothering him. The tension was obvious in the way he sounded. There was no humor, no playing around, and no hint that this was just another quick online rant. Viewers picked up on it right away. His energy felt different, heavier, like someone who had reached the end of his patience after being overlooked for too long. What made the clip hit even harder was how direct he was. He said, "Mike, let me out the contract, bro. What we gotta do, what I gotta do." That wasn't the kind of thing people say casually. It came across like someone who had already tried to sort everything out privately, respectfully, and without making it public, only to run into silence. From there, the situation started raising even more questions. Finesse explained that he had already made attempts behind the scenes to get in touch. He said, "I just talked to Baby J. I still ain't talked to you. I did business with you."
This is him talking about J. Prince Jr. beef with this guy.
Oh my God, y'all got way too much going on, bro. Y'all got way too much. Now y'all see why I'm trying to get out this country. Now y'all see why. You see how this shit make me look? And I'm a part of mob time. Now I gotta walk in places and they be like, "Who is that?" "That's Finesse. They be with Joe and them." No, I don't.
That statement immediately set social media off. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about frustration. People began asking why simple communication had broken down at all. In the music industry, conflict is nothing new. Artists and business partners disagree all the time. Still, when someone says they can't even get a direct response from the person they actually worked with, the public starts wondering if there's a bigger issue unfolding where nobody can see it. The silence surrounding the situation only made it look even messier. Supporters quickly started connecting the dots, with many saying it seemed like Finesse was stuck in an agreement that no longer felt right or moved the way it should.
Once an artist starts asking for answers in public instead of keeping it behind closed doors, that usually signals something has been bothering them for a long time. This clearly wasn't a sudden reaction. It felt like built-up frustration finally reaching the surface.
Let me go, Junior. We done already made all the money we can make. I don't want to go to no another label with you. I love you. But I no longer want to be mob-tied business-wise. I love all the mob-tied street niggas. It's time for me a new look, Junior. It's time. Let me out that contract, bro. I'm done with that contract, bro.
Soon after, he made his position impossible to misunderstand. He made it clear he wasn't trying to show up, escalate anything, or turn the moment into a public clash. From his side, this was about business, and he wanted to treat it that way. Nothing more, nothing less. At the heart of it, he simply wanted out. Even with that calm message, the pressure was getting harder to ignore. Every moment made the situation feel heavier, like it was moving toward a breaking point. What first may have looked like a minor issue was now starting to feel much bigger. The more people paid attention to his words, the more obvious it became that this wasn't some small disagreement that would fade away on its own. There was real emotion behind what he was saying, and fans could sense that he felt cornered by a situation that only seemed to get more complicated. Before long, that tension spread across the internet, because once artists start speaking this openly, people know something serious is happening behind the scenes. The moment an artist starts talking openly like this, everyone assumes there's a major issue unfolding behind closed doors. Once you look closer, it becomes obvious why. Record deals are rarely simple, and the fine print can trap people faster than most fans expect. Many assume a musician can leave a contract whenever they feel like it, but the business usually doesn't work that way.
After signatures hit the page, freedom often comes with a price tag. Not a small one either. We're talking about massive amounts of money, the kind of number that can reshape someone's entire financial future in an instant.
J. Prince Jr. and Finesse2Tymes just violently confronted each other over their new contract, and it shocked everyone. Finesse2Tymes has been releasing music under the Mob Ties record label for years. J. Prince Jr. founded Mob Ties back in 2017, following in the footsteps of his father J. Prince and the Rap-A-Lot Records legacy. In 2022, Mob Ties signed a distribution deal with Atlantic Records and Moneybagg Yo's Bread Gang Entertainment. That is the label structure Finesse2Tymes has been operating on.
That's the hidden side of the industry a lot of people never see until an artist starts publicly pushing back and demanding a way out. In Finesse2Tymes' case, it eventually began to seem like a buyout may have been the only practical path remaining. Even that option, though, is far from easy when contracts, advances, and other business obligations can involve millions. Very few artists have that kind of money available at a moment's notice just to solve a label dispute. Now imagine trying to build momentum, grow your name, and stay focused on your career while also feeling stuck in an agreement that clearly no longer feels right. Stress like that doesn't stay small for long. It builds, gets heavier, and starts changing everything around it. That's when the situation took a dramatic turn. The second he chose to bring it into the public eye, instead of keeping it private, the entire story shifted. Instead of settling it in private, he took the issue directly online and made one thing clear. He wanted out of that deal. The moment that message hit the internet, everything shifted. What had been a closed-door business problem instantly became a public spectacle. Suddenly, it wasn't just insiders paying attention. Fans, bloggers, and people across the industry started tracking every move, all trying to piece together what might be happening behind the scenes. At that point, the spotlight was everywhere, and the pressure only kept building.
But in January 2026, the Memphis rapper went public on Instagram with a direct demand. He said he wanted out of his contract. He called it the worst contract he had ever signed. He addressed J. Prince Jr. directly, saying he wanted out, that he didn't want to be Mob Ties anymore, and that he wanted his own situation. He also stated they had already made all the money they could make together. He told Prince Jr. he loved him, but no longer wanted to be under Mob Ties from a business standpoint.
From there, the situation unraveled fast. What started as private frustration turned into something far bigger, something impossible to ignore. Finesse2Tymes didn't try to keep the tension subtle either. There were no quiet hints, no careful statements, no behind-the-scenes damage control. He went straight to social media and began naming major figures one after another, almost like he was sending out a public distress call. Among the names he brought up were Rick Ross, 50 Cent, Brock Lesnar, Eminem, Magic Johnson, Spike Lee, and Jay-Z, all while repeating the same message: somebody help me get out this deal. That's when the reaction online went into overdrive. Social media lit up immediately, and the responses were anything but quiet. To many people watching, it didn't sound like a small disagreement or routine contract issue. It came across like someone feeling trapped, under serious pressure, and willing to reach in every direction for support before things spiraled even further.
You greedy motherfucker. You greedy motherfucker.
People immediately split into two camps, arguing over whether this was a bold strategy or a dangerous mistake. Calling out major figures in public can flip industry relationships in an instant. The moment private issues spill onto the internet, everything gets messier. Executives, rappers, bloggers, and fans rush in, choose sides, build theories, and analyze every small detail like it means everything. What made this situation feel different was Finesse's tone. He didn't sound calculated. He didn't sound like someone chasing attention or setting up promotion. There was real urgency in the way he spoke, and listeners picked up on it right away. That raw frustration is exactly why the clip spread so fast across social media. To a lot of people, it looked less like drama and more like someone reaching for help before the whole situation got worse.
Once Finesse2Tymes began mentioning celebrities and major industry names out loud, the pressure around the story jumped to another level. Suddenly, it wasn't just a personal issue anymore. It became a public conversation involving powerful people, and that made everyone pay closer attention. Still, the biggest surprise came next. Out of every major name he called out, only one person chose to answer publicly.
That single response shifted the entire narrative overnight. The one who spoke up was 50 Cent. That caught people off guard, because 50 Cent usually doesn't insert himself into situations like this without a clear reason.
Some fans believe 50 genuinely wants to help Finesse2Tymes escape a frustrating situation and rebuild his career elsewhere. Others think this entire conflict is secretly becoming a much larger power struggle involving influence, reputation, and control inside hip-hop circles. Meanwhile, fans continue replaying every live stream and statement, trying to uncover hidden meanings buried inside certain comments.
The second his name entered the story, the energy changed. Everyone stopped what they were doing and paid attention. People immediately locked in once they saw what was happening. The moment felt even bigger because 50 wasn't tossing out random online comments or empty support. He stepped in sounding prepared, like he had already thought through a real solution, and that changed the energy fast. According to 50, he had a strong idea. His plan was to place Finesse2Tymes in an upcoming show, giving him a chance to earn enough money to potentially buy his way out of that contract. As soon as that message hit the internet, everything shifted. This no longer looked like another celebrity jumping into the comments for attention. It felt calculated, direct, and serious. Rather than adding more chaos to the situation, 50 appeared to be offering something practical, a genuine opportunity to make major money and open up a second path beyond music. That possibility alone had people talking because it suggested there might be a real exit strategy instead of more public back and forth.
What pushed the reaction even further was another statement from 50. He said he had been watching Finesse closely and believed he could dominate any role in any film. Once that line started spreading, the conversation took on a whole new life. Fans stopped focusing only on paperwork and business issues. Now the spotlight was also on acting, television, and the idea that Finesse might be able to step into a completely different kind of career. At that point, the story wasn't just about contracts anymore. It was about reinvention, opportunity, and whether this could be the beginning of something much bigger. People quickly began suggesting this might turn into the best break he has had in a long time, if everything actually fell into place. Almost overnight, the conversation moved away from tension and setbacks and shifted toward real business potential, fresh partnerships, and powerful industry ties. The moment Finesse2Tymes noticed 50 Cent's reply, he moved instantly. Without waiting around, he went straight to social media and answered publicly. At 50 Cent, check your DM, let's get down to it, OG. That message made one thing clear. He was not playing around, and he was ready to act right away.
This was not a quiet negotiation happening behind the scenes. Finesse put the entire conversation in front of the public. Now in February 2026, the situation got more emotional. Finesse2Tymes appeared to fight back tears while speaking about his contract issues with J. Prince Jr. on social media. He made it clear he felt stuck and was not getting the financial return he expected from the deal.
From the way he responded, it was obvious he believed this could be a genuine opening to turn things around. Supporters filled the comment sections, with many saying this could be the opportunity he had been needing all along, the kind of lifeline that might finally shift the direction of everything. Soon after, the situation took on a much heavier tone when he shared more about how drained he had become from carrying all of this. He admitted, "I'm already fed up being associated with this. All I want is my freedom." Those words landed hard. Suddenly, it no longer felt like online noise, promotion, or a headline designed to grab attention.
Instead, it came across as something real, deeply personal, emotional, and shaped by months of pressure that had been building out of public view. Once that statement started spreading online, social media erupted, and the entire story took on a whole new level of intensity. People were already in full detective mode, trying to piece together what was really going on out of public view. Just when it seemed like the story couldn't get any messier, the situation shifted again. J. Prince Jr. clearly had no intention of staying silent after 50 Cent inserted himself into the middle of it all. His response came quickly, and it instantly set social media off. The wording was sharp, and the tone made people stop scrolling. J. Prince Jr. appeared to send a direct message to 50 Cent, warning him not to spend time, energy, or money on someone who might never appreciate what was done for them. Once that statement started making the rounds online, Fans understood right away that this was no longer some private industry issue being handled behind the scenes. What had been quiet suddenly became public.
Let me go, Junior. We done already made all the money we can make. I don't want to go to no another label with you. I love you. But I no longer want to be mob-tied business-wise. I love all the mob-tied street niggas. It's time for me a new look, Junior. It's time. Let me out that contract, bro. I'm done with that contract, bro.
And now, major names were openly taking sides. From there, the tension climbed even higher. When he referenced old history connected to 50, he brought up the past by saying, "Remember how Game played you. That's the same way this gonna play in your face." That quote landed hard because the conversation no longer seemed to be only about Finesse2Tymes. At that point, it felt much more personal, almost like a direct shot aimed straight at 50 Cent. The reaction online was immediate. Viewers picked up on the shift right away because this had gone from messy industry drama to a much more public and personal clash involving reputation, loyalty, and old wounds being pulled back into the spotlight. People began arguing over J. Prince Jr.'s real intent. Was he honestly trying to give a warning, or was he taking quiet public jabs? That question alone had people split.
Things escalated even more when he brought up different performers. Names like Yayo and Uncle Murder were mentioned as possible replacements for the show. To a lot of fans, that came across as a clear sign he had no real interest in pushing Finesse forward at all. Online reactions poured in fast. Some listeners took his comments as doubt, almost like he didn't think the plan would succeed. Others believed he was being careful, trying to protect business ties and important relationships behind the scenes. Either way, every line he said got picked apart. Once the clips and conversations spread across the internet, the story stopped looking like a simple contract issue. Suddenly, people were framing it as something much bigger, a clash over respect, power, and who actually held influence at the center of it all. From that point on, the whole atmosphere shifted. It was no longer just about deals or bookings. Pride entered the picture. Public image became part of the fight. That change made everything feel far more intense, and the tension only kept building. Meanwhile, Finesse2Tymes wasn't staying quiet anymore. He made it clear he was done holding back, and by then, the internet was locked in, tracking every post, every reaction, and every move as the situation kept heating up. It had gotten to the stage where Finesse seemed completely done worrying about who might be offended. You could feel that this hadn't come out of nowhere. Tension had been stacking up for a long time, and when he finally spoke, the energy was sharper, colder, and impossible to ignore. Rather than keeping everything bottled up or trying to calm the situation down, he made it obvious that he no longer felt connected to the people around him. Viewers immediately sensed this was much bigger than a random bad moment. It came across like someone who had stayed silent for months, carried the weight in private, and finally let it spill out in front of everyone. What pushed the moment even further was the speed of the reaction online. Social media split almost instantly. One side argued that Finesse was justified in saying something if he truly felt boxed in or ignored. Others believed handling it publicly could leave serious damage behind the scenes that wouldn't be easy to fix. From there, the story took off fast. Live stream clips were everywhere. Reposts kept multiplying. Quotes from the situation were hitting blogs almost as soon as they were said. Within minutes, the conversation had turned into a full online debate, with everyone trying to decide who deserved support and who was in the wrong. Finesse only made the message louder after that. He made it clear he was finished pretending everything was fine just to avoid conflict. The way he was talking now sounded like someone ready to cut ties and move in a completely different direction. Whatever happened next, it was clear he had mentally checked out. That shift in tone immediately sparked bigger questions, because when someone goes public with raw emotion instead of carefully chosen words, people assume the tension has been building long before anyone saw it. Suddenly, fans weren't just watching a disagreement unfold, they were wondering what had really been happening in private the entire time. Meanwhile, people in the music business were watching closely as well. Moments like this don't stay personal for long. They can hit careers, business relationships, and public image all at once. For some fans, 50 Cent getting involved looked like a sign that Finesse might finally have another option on the table. Others felt the attention could make an already complicated situation even harder to straighten out. One thing became impossible to ignore almost immediately. This was no longer just a dispute about paperwork or contract terms. It had turned into a highly visible standoff. And every new post seemed to push the situation into an even brighter spotlight. Pressure kept building with each update, and the story only got more intense. Before long, he began laying out what he says went wrong behind the scenes, step by step. A few of those claims instantly made people rethink the deal and question whether everything had been handled the right way from the start. As more details came out, skepticism grew fast. Finesse2Tymes openly admitted that when he first entered the situation, at that point, he admitted something surprising. He never really knew how record deals were supposed to work. In fact, he said he didn't even realize he should have had his own lawyer there to protect him during the negotiations. That revelation alone set social media on fire, with people reacting almost instantly. When the final documents were ready to be signed, he said he was allegedly discouraged from finding an independent attorney. Instead, according to his account, he was told to let someone already involved in the situation review the paperwork for him. Naturally, that sparked a wave of concern online. Fans immediately began asking the obvious question: how is an artist supposed to fully protect themselves under those circumstances? Without separate legal representation in the music industry, contracts can shape nearly everything, from a person's career path to their money and personal freedom. Because of that, viewers took his comments very seriously. The story became even more unsettling once he began discussing the lawyer connected to the agreement. He claimed the attorney he was given already had ties to the opposite side, and that's when he openly started questioning the entire arrangement. His reasoning was simple and direct. How could that lawyer truly fight for him if the people on the other side were the ones paying him? That statement spread fast across the internet because a lot of people immediately understood why he felt uneasy about the whole situation. As he reflected on the entire situation, fans began asking a bigger question. Did he really know what he was agreeing to? Or did he place trust in the process because he was eager to push his career ahead? The discussion took a sharp turn when Finesse started opening up about the partnership he believed he was signing into. From his perspective, the deal was supposed to feel more equal, with both sides working together in a shared effort. Later, after taking a closer look at the documents, he came away feeling the arrangement was built in a completely different way. In his view, what had been presented as a partnership ended up resembling a far more standard artist contract once the fine print was fully examined. That claim immediately caught attention online. Suddenly, people were breaking down every detail, questioning not just his situation, but the larger issue of how well artists truly understand major agreements before putting their names on them. Even with all the pressure, the public criticism, and the back and forth surrounding the controversy, Finesse2Tymes still wanted to emphasize one point. He insisted he was not trying to create conflict, get even, or strip anything away from anyone involved. From his side, this was never about attacking people or stirring up more chaos across the internet. Instead, he made it clear that he simply wanted to speak on what he felt happened and explain why he saw the situation the way he did.
He made it clear in the simplest way possible. He's not going. More than anything, that statement seemed to capture the heart of the issue. From the outside, it looks like he wants out of an agreement he no longer feels right being connected to. What started as a personal career move has now turned into something much larger than anyone probably imagined. Suddenly, 50 Cent is entering the conversation with possible openings and solutions, while J. Prince Jr. is publicly challenging the decision and raising questions about the entire situation. Because of that, social media has become a battleground of opinions. One side believes Finesse2Tymes is doing everything he can to take back control of his future. Others argue that online attention, public commentary, and non-stop drama only push real solutions further out of reach. No matter where people stand, the pressure around this story is clearly rising. There's a lot happening away from the public eye, and that only adds more intrigue. One thing nobody can deny is this: the situation is still unfolding, the tension keeps growing, and every new development has people locked in and watching closely.